and welcome to another episode of our series with yours truly, Samuel Adrani. If this is the first time you're joining us, we do this every Sunday, demystifying all we can on the Microsoft Power Platform. So in today's episode, we'll be taking off from where we left last week, where we were seeing how to create a Power Automate flow and consuming it in Microsoft Copilot Studio. So if this sounds like something that's of interest to you, stick and stay. When we come back, we'll get right into it. Don't go anywhere. Awesome. Truly, we're demystifying the Power Platform for you. If this is your first time, this is Power Series. Please scan the QR code here so that you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. It would do us a lot of good. If you subscribe to the channel, invite your friends to join the channel and we can have some awesome fun. Yes, so let's get right into it. So last week, if you missed it, I'll probably put the link to the last week's video somewhere here, either here, there, you find it on the video. Anyway, so last week we started talking about our Microsoft Copilot Studio. We saw how to create a flow, a Copilot, and then leverage Power Automate. But before we do that, in the spirit of the Christmas, I would like to wish here in Accra, Ghana, it is the Christmas Eve, 24th Eve. I'm sending warm wishes, best of the year, best of the seasons, and even an awesome year to come. So for us, it's going to be tomorrow. I'm sure some people have already crossed over. So depending on where you are, a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, and hope to see you again next year for more and more interesting tech content on all my shows. So as you can see, that's why I'm all in my Christmas. I got my Christmas thing going, so we're going to have some fun with that. So let's get into it. So last week we created our Copilot and then we saw the numbers API, and then we're going to use that to create a Power Automate flow and consume it. So if I could just let's get to the desk, and don't forget that you can, give us a shout out. Let's know where you're calling, where you're joining us from, if it is YouTube, Facebook, wherever. Just, drop a hi. We'll acknowledge you on the show. So let's go to the desk. If I can get this to work, let me log in so that we can see where we left off. And I also talked a lot about having access to the Microsoft Developer Platform. Let's try this again. Okay, let me put this here and let's do this again. So let's go to portal.office.com. And this should ask us to sign in again. Okay, now we have it. Let's do the MFA facial, and that should get us into it. So we are in here, and then I'm going to go all the way to, let's go here. I'm going to open Power Automate on the other side, and then let's go to copilotstudio.microsoft.com. We've already signed in with our Microsoft account, so that should give us access to Copilot. Let's see. Yeah, no wonder. Strangely enough, today I was asking, hey, where is my monitor? And I just realized that I don't have my monitor going. So if you permit me, guys, let me quickly run my monitor. So basically what you're seeing now, so last week we had the super numbers. This is what we're creating. So I'm going to open it up, and last week we got to the point where we're going to create our own Power Automate flow, and I was talking about leveraging the numbers API. So we're going to go to numbers, the numbers API. This no, let's close this. The numbers API, there we go. And I made mention of two things. I told you about the fact that if you were creating, so here, let's go to my flows. We will see what we started creating for numbers API agent. So let's go ahead and edit it. So I showed you two ways of creating that. And I made mention of the importance of having the trigger, which is when a Power Virtual Agent. I mentioned that even though it's not Copilot Studio, there's a transitioning from that to change the name to Copilot Studio. So it would have the name of the old platform, which is a Power Virtual Agent. So you need these two things. One is when a Power Virtual Agent calls a flow, which means that this flow will be called or triggered from a Power Virtual Agent, and stuff could be passed into it. And then if you want to return some information back to your agent or your Copilot, you need to use this one, which is the return values to Power Virtual Agent or Copilot. So I made mention of this. So today we're going to fill this up, make it work, and then we'll go back to our Copilot, which you can see. Let's go to the Copilot. Let's open this, and there you go. So let's go to topics and plugins. We have our own plugins already, so just go ahead and yeah, there we go. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Okay, so cool. Let's go ahead and then create the flow, which we're going to call into our agent. So just a sec. Let's do this. And we talked about this as well, so don't be. All right, let's close this. Hey, Key, welcome. You are here. Welcome to the show. Yeah, so we're taking off of what we left off yesterday. Sorry, last week. Why do I say, I say yesterday like it's, yeah, so we're going off of, what we started last week. So today we're going to create the flow in Power Automate, and then we can call it from here. So let's go ahead, and I'm just testing this out to see where we are. So numbers, and what's your lucky number? I think we used 4, and then it's going to go into let's see, go. Let's turn on the tracking so I can see it in here. So I'm going to try numbers again, and there you go. So that should open. Yep, there you go. So pretty much it opened up for us. So this is where we are. We had to strip off. We saw the conditions, but we had to strip that off because today we're going to call a Power Automate, right? So let's go ahead and look at this numbers API. So just to give you context, so what we are doing is that there's a trigger is either you say Aquaba, hello, you, what up, and then that would ask you what's your lucky number. We have variations of the messages, and we're going to take the person's number. When we take the number, which we are storing here in a variable called lucky number right here, and I mentioned that this could be this is an entity. We're going to do entity extraction. So this could be liking to, let's say you are, I'll still use the Ghana Immigration Service as an example. Since we started to use Copilot, so we're using them as an example. This could be you going to the website and interacting with this bot and say, hey, this is my passport number. I want to know the status of my work permits, right? So ideally we'll be taking this passport number in a variable and then calling a backend process, which is an API, or in this case, a Power Automate flow to go run something in the background and return that information, right? So this is going to come in as a power number, right? And it's a number. So let's go here. So now in our flow, when a Power Virtual Agent is called, right, and we're expecting a number. So on the left hand side here, I'm going to provide an input, which is a number, right? And I'm going to call this lucky number, right? That's what we're going to call it. So that's the only input we're expecting. So assuming you were going to do a lot of entity extraction, we're expecting a lot more data from your Copilot. You can create those entities, those variables here, and map them, right? So when this comes here as the lucky number, what do I want to do? I'm going to add another action, which will be the HTTP action. So we're going to look for HTTP, and I think there is an HTTP here. Let's see more. So we'll do an HTTP. There you go. So this will be the request. So here, if you look at the parameters, here we're going to provide some few information. First to be the URL, which is the endpoint you want to call, what method we're calling with, if there are any headers, if there's any query, if there's any body or stuff like that. Query values, we can pass them. So before we do this, if you look at the numbers API, right? So all you need to do is call numbers.com, and all you need to do is just pass it, pass the number you want in the URL. So if I did this and did 42, you realize that it's going to call the API, and then look at this, it's going to return some quite interesting fact or trivia about it. So 42 is the result given. So this is going to come into the body of the response to that API. All right, so we're going to go here. So the method here is a simple get, right? You're not doing a post, just you're calling it, and the URL now is this HTTP numbers and slash. All right, then queries. We don't have, so the thing is, we don't have any how do we call it, we don't have any specific queries to that. But however, what we do is that we have a number from the agent we want to pass to it, and this number can be used by this dynamic content. So if you look here, if you click on dynamic content, you can see that, hey, this is the lucky number that will be passed from the agent that we need to consume into the. So I'm going to say, yeah, provide a lucky number there. So you see that it's created it. It's going to call http numbersapi.com/ and then the lucky number that you pass into it. And then what we want to do is to probably get the response, right? Or what we can do is let's just call this, and I'll save this for now. And the good thing I'll do, and this is some of the things you should be doing when you're building flows. Test them regularly. So yeah, this is saved. So I'm going ahead to do a test by clicking on the test up here, and I'm going to do a manual test to make sure that it's fine. So I'm going to hit a test, and then you see this will, oh, hold on, let's see, no, that's strange. That should be, hold on, let's try this again, just a sec. Let me save this. And let's do this. Okay, so what I would do is, let's go to the response, right? And then we're going to create a response, which is a text, right? And then we're going to call this, let's just call this result, right? So this is what we are outputting to the flow, to your Copilot. So let's call this result. And then this is going to be the body, right? And the body is anything that's coming from, so we can do the body from the HTTP call, right? So let's do the body from HTTP call. Let's save this. Okay, I don't know, but that's strange. So okay, don't worry. Well, now our flow basically is done. So this is a very basic flow. When Power Virtual Agent calls this flow, it's going to pass a lucky number. We're going to use this lucky number to call the numbers API with a number, and then we're going to return the result from it. Now, this is very simplistic. I'm simplifying it. In here, you could do a lot of things, do a lot of processes, all the crazy stuff. But the key thing I mentioned is being able to return it to your Power Virtual Agent. So this is a very basic one, right? So now let's go here, and I'm going to click here, add, and I'll do call an action. And in here, we're going to call, as you can see, numbers API. And I mentioned that, sorry, I made mention that because the Copilot and the Power Automate flow are in the same environment, it is easy for discovery, right? So your Copilot can discover all the flows, Power Automate flows you have in the same environment and in the same solution specifically, all right? So I'm going to the numbers, and I'll check this out. When you call it, enter or select a value, right? So this, I want it to be equal to the lucky number, which I'm passing. And then there's an output here called result. And when that happens, I can go ahead and send a message to the user. And this message would be, let's go ahead. So it created a variable, right? So I'm going to do this, and then that is going to be result. So stay with me here. Let's walk through this again, right? So that we are all aligned. So basically what's happening is that let me do this. All right, so what's happening is we have a trigger from a Copilot, which is triggered when he hears the phrase welcome, hello, Akwaba, hola, yo. And then it has two variants of messages to return to you here. One could be hello there, welcome to Numbers Magic. And one is awesome, let's play some numbers game. All right. And then after that, what's happening after that is once we pose the question, we're going to ask them for their lucky numbers, right? And once they provide their lucky numbers, we are storing the lucky number in a variable called var lucky number. And in turn, what we are doing after that is we are going ahead to use that lucky number, pass it into a Power Automate flow called the Numbers API agent, which we just created in Power Automate. So Power Automate takes this number, runs this process, and returns the output into a string, which we can then take and send back to the person. All right. So let's save this. Let's save this moment of truth. Let's see what happens. Save. It's interesting that it says that I can test that. That's new to me. So yeah, this looks okay. And I'm not embellishing the results. Maybe let me take myself to the left so you can see this. All I'm doing here with the results is just outputting the result. So the result from the Power Automate flow, I'm just outputting it as a message to the person. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so now I'm going ahead and I'll say numbers. And this is the left side. Take a look at this. It says, what's your lucky number? I'm going to say 10. I pass in 10. And this is sending. It goes up. Take a look at that. Isn't that interesting? Check this out. So I started by calling numbers. It says, what's your lucky number? I said 10. It went ahead to call the Power Automate and check this out. It's returned. It says that 10 is a number of space-time dimensions in some superstring theories, right? Interesting. Now, we are leaving a couple of things in terms of, multimodal, conversations where I can continue to say, hey, what about 6? What about 7? We've not done that, right? This is just a very basic building on how to call it. You can do this. And actually, I've taught how to do this in my previous videos on Power Series. So I'll probably drop it in the description somewhere for you to see how that's done. But yeah, let's try that again. So now if I say hi, we'll probably say, hey, I am hello, how can I help you today? And then when I say something like numbers, it will say hello there, welcome to the Numbers Magic Portal. Pick any number and I will tell you a secret. What is your lucky number? So now let's do 13 and I press enter. It goes ahead, it calls the flow. 13 is the number of unique ranks and suits in the pack of cards. So take a look at this. So you can see that we've created a simple Copilot that is able to call Power Automate, run some process and return that. Now, if you want to see what's happening here, let's go to the Power Automate. We can see the runs. So let me close this. Let's go back to the Numbers API. And you can see the flow runs here. So we've run it twice. I'm going to open all the runs and you can see the processes in. So the first time which was run was a minute ago. If we open it, this is what happened. So the flow was called and the lucky number that was passed was 10. It went ahead to do the HTTP call. So it called, you see it, it called it the numbers API.com/10. This returned the body, which is 10 is the number. And all we did was we set that into a response. And then in our Copilot, we easily saw how to do this, right? So on the basic, this is how you create a very simple interaction between Copilot Studio and then Power Automate. Like I said, there could be a lot more things you could do with this. Today we're just calling a very basic API, right? The other thing I might probably want to try today, I promise to keep our show not too long because it's Christmas Eve. People are probably going to party or do some stuff. So I just want to make sure that we don't spend too much time here. So today we'll try to keep it, wraps 30, 35, 40 minutes so everybody can go and have fun. But So if you look at this, you would clearly see that there are math, trivia, date. Okay, there is math, trivia, date. So what we want to do is that we want our flow, our Copilot, to be able to ask us, what category do we want to play? Whether you want it to be a math, trivia, whether I want to be about math, what is it about just a trivia, or you want it to be, date, or you want it to be random, right? So if you want it to be random, there's still trivia, year, date, and math. Okay, so we have math, we have trivia, we have date. I'm trying to see. Okay, there's year, right? So let's try this. I'm just going to right click this and open it in a new tab. I want to see how. Okay, so there you go, right? So if you want to do a random trivia, which it's that is not specific to any number, right? I can just say, tell me something, tell me something I don't know, right? So that could be another topic to say, hey, tell me something I don't know. And then we can call the random, and it could be trivia, and random, it could be year, it could be date, it could be math, right? But if the person wants to be specific and says, I want a math, fact, I want a trivia fact, I want a date fact, all right? How do we deal with that? So let's look at that. So here, I'm also going to call this, I'm going to open it in a new tab. I think trivia is what we just done. We've done trivia, which is just the number /42. So this trivia, and then this is date. So let's go ahead and look at this. So this here, yes, so this is trivia. So we've done trivia already. So by default, it will tell you something. It's a random trivia. But then if you want to do something specific to, let's go ahead and do math, right? So you can do, you provide a number here, and then you do math, okay? And then again, it's just going to go ahead and then say 5 is a number of platonic solids. And then if you have to do date, let's go ahead. I think the format they have is, okay, so for date, they're trying to, so for, I think I'll leave date for you as let's say a homework. I'm volunteering you to do something. So what they're doing is that for dates, they take the month and then the day and then slash date, and then it's going to give you a trivia based on that day, right? So here it says December 24th is the day in 1865 that the Ku Klux Klan is formed. I'm sure if I refresh this again, I'm going to get a different trivia. December 24th is the day in 1818 that the first performance of Silent Night takes place in the Church of St. Nicholas in Obnoth, Australia. Wow, that's cool. So you can pretty much provide different context, right? In terms of that. So I'm saying that right now we can say, hey, we want a math information about math, or we want something, let's say, in trivia. You can do that. So in the same vein, if you wanted to do that, then that would mean instead of the lucky number, we can first start by saying what do you want to play, whether it's a math or it's trivia. And then when they select that, we capture that. And then we go ahead and ask them, okay, what's your lucky number? We capture that as well. And all we have to do is go and update the flow to say, hey, this is math, this is trivia, right? Maybe let's try to do that. So there's a trigger phrase. Let's call this. So if we just say hi once more, I want to test something here. It's just going to say, hello, how can we help you? Okay, good. So let me try something here. Let me try, hey. Let's see if it's going to go straight to the numbers game. Yeah, hello, how can we help you? And then let's do numbers. I just want to check the flow. Okay, so awesome. Let's play a numbers game. What is your lucky number? All right, so we're going to do two things, right? We're going to do the random and the math, and maybe I'll let you do the last one as a homework, right? So here the message will come and say, hello there, welcome to the numbers game. What is your lucky number? But this time around, we won't ask the what is your lucky number first, right? So we'll add another one here. So this is hello there. So let's play the numbers game. let's play a numbers game. So the next question would ask them is, let's ask a question, and I will say that what category do you want to play? Question mark. Right? And then down here, oh, let me move myself to the left so that you can see what's happening here. And then down here, we'll do a multi-choice option, right? So here, we'll do the multiple choice option. This is pre-bit string. So what I'll do is we'll do trivia. Let's do here. Yep, so we have trivia. And then we'll add another option here, math, right? Then we will store the output into, we'll call it var game, right? Or let's say var, yeah, let's just call it var game option. Please make sure you are naming your variables very well. Okay. So now take a look at this. So what's happening is that it's all going to call, we're going to call the numbers stuff again, right? Now, once they select their option, whether it is trivia, it is math, we have the response in var game, right? So it's asking, okay, so what if they select the trivia choice, or what if they select how do you call it, the math choice? Now you can go with this a couple of ways. You can decide to call the agent, the Power Automate flow a number of times, or you can just say, hey, just let them pick one, store it in there, and then do whatever I want to do. But for the sake of simplicity, I'll try to call this a few times, right? So before that, I'm going to go back to the flow in Power Automate, and then I'm going to also include is another string. I'll call this game option. All right. I'll say, please provide your game option. All right. All right. So that's it. So there's a game. So we're expecting the number and the game option. All right. So now in here, before we make the call, right, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and let's add a variable, and then I'll initialize a variable, and then I'll call this var base URL, which is a string. And then I'll go ahead and call the numbers.com / right? I'll call that as the base URL. Actually, I'll just remove the slash from there. So that's just, well, it doesn't really matter. If you put the slash there, you can update it from another side, or you can just, so, well, don't worry, I'll just put a slash there. So this is the base URL, right? So let's go here and I'll call it initialize base URL variable. Awesome. So what are we doing here? So when the flow is called, we're expecting the lucky number, the game option, and then when we initialize a variable. Okay. Now, based on, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll add a control. Let's do this. So I'm going to create another variable, and you understand why I'm doing that right now. Let's say variable. Okay, so we go to all, and then we initialize another variable, and I'll call this one initialize. We'll call this one endpoint variable, right? And I'll call this var endpoint. Actually, we don't need to do this. Well, let us We'll call this endpoint. It's also of a string, and now it's just going to be blank, right? So we have two variables here. We have the base URL, and then we have an endpoint. Okay. Then I'm going to do a condition here. So before we make the HTTP call, we would have defined the variable what we are calling before we do that. So I'm going to add another action, and I'm going to do a control. And this will be a condition. So what is the condition that we want to work on? So the condition is if the game option is equal to trivia, right? There you go. If it's trivia, you see that? So if the game option is equal to trivia, no, actually, let's do math. So that any other thing will be a trivia, right? That makes sense. So if the game option is equal to math, because math is the one that has a specific, right? All right. So now this is a condition, right? So if we say, we can give it a name. Let's say is game option math. No question mark there, nobody cares. But anyway, let's just keep it this way. Yep. It's just okay, so I can give it any name I want. It's just I just want it to be very realistic or very easy for you to follow. All right. So here we're saying that if the game option that is passed from the Copilot, okay, if that is equal to math, what do we do? Now go and look at the way the math. You see how the math endpoint is defined. So is the base URL, the number, and then what? Math. So that is how we're going to form the URL. Okay. So let's go here. I'm saying that, yeah, if it is true, then what we want to do now is to, let's call an, let's do a compose. I'll do a compose. And what am I composing? Right. So what I'm composing is, I can just do it directly into the endpoint, right? And then I can combine I can use the endpoint as the output of it, which is this, but then we'll just keep it very simple. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's do it in the let's do it in here. So I'm going to actually let me delete the compose. We'll do something else. So let's go ahead and set the variable, right? Let's set the endpoint variable. So we'll go back to the variable here. And then we'll go to see more and then set variable. Okay. And now what variable are we setting? We're going to set the endpoint. Okay, we're going to set the endpoint variable. So what's the value? If you look at it again, so what we need to do is, I think, let's see the way we initialize the base URL. So the base, yeah. So we have the front slash after the base URL. So let's go back and say, so because we already have that, the base URL, what do we do? So here we are going to put the lucky number, a slash, and then the keyword math. So that's it. So that's so here, let's say this is going to be called set endpoint variable. All right. So we've set the variable. Now, if it is not math, all right, if it is not math, any other thing that is passed, we still want to set. So I can actually go ahead here and I can copy this action, come here, paste the action here, and I'll just set this and I'll say this is set set trivia endpoint. Why do I keep doing this? So endpoint variable. All right. We don't need a copy of this. Good. So in this case, all that you are doing is to pass the lucky number, right? We don't need anything slash maths. That's just it. So there we go. Let's save this. So Stay with me here. We're almost there. Stay with me. Stay with me. So when the Copilot calls this Power Automate flow, it's going to pass the lucky number and the game option the person wants to play. And then based on the game option, we prepare the endpoints we want to use. All right. We prepare the endpoints we want to. So if you look at here, we're just passing math or we're just doing numbers, right? So now in the HTTP call, this time around, I'm not going to do all that. So all I'm going to do now is say that, hey, the base URL, right, which is going to have a slash, and then the endpoint. And the endpoint. That's it. Now someone is saying, why don't you have the slash in between here? And that's what I'm saying, that the base URL already has the slash. All right. So if you want it to be more seamless, then what we'll do is that I'll do front slash, and then we'll go here and then we'll put the endpoint, right? But then that means that in defining the base URL, I'm going to take out this. Does that make sense? So now the base URL is without a front slash. Save this. So the base URL is without a front slash. And then when you set the endpoint, when you're setting the endpoint, I know that I'm going to put a slash before this one and their math, and this one, I know I'll put a slash, yes, I don't need it. So now when we are calling the HTTP endpoint, so you see there's the base URL, the slash, and then whatever the endpoint is. And it's the same way, the result to be the same. So right now, our flow at this point, let's save this. Our flow at this point is ready to take whether the person wants to play a trivia or wants to play a math game. Okay. So with that said, let's go back to numbers. And now here, this is the option. So like I was saying, we can choose to delete the entire thing and just say, for any other condition, just call this, or for a number of times, or you can just say, you know what, I just want to pass that information on. You can easily do that. That will still work. Like, so I can go ahead and say, delete this, and I can say that delete this. All right. So this is the game options here. And then, so right now, so once you ask the game option, it collects the game option into the bar game option. And then it goes ahead to ask you the question, what is your lucky number? You provide a lucky number. It stores the lucky number. And then now let's refresh this. Let's refresh this so that it can bring in all the other changes. So there you go. So once we refresh this, if you look closely, it's brought in the lucky number and the game option. So in this time, the game option is going to be about the game option. The result still stays the same. Yes, there you go. There's an error binding. Let's see. You know what? Let's delete this. And let's delete this. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and try this again. So go here, call the action, numbers API. There we go. So lucky number is the var lucky number. Game option, we'll call the game option. Okay. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. Let's flip this. Let's flip this. Let's do the lucky number first, and then let's do the game option. So I'm going to copy this. Actually, let's delete this. And then let's delete this. All right. So there you go. So yeah. So what's your lucky number? We're going to do this. And then let's go ahead here and ask another question. And let's do what game? Oh, sorry. What's the question here? Come on. Come on. Something is okay. Let me close all these. It looks like my CPU is, sorry guys. Yeah, give it a sec. Come on. Process. So what we're doing is trying to call, we've already called our Power Virtual Agent flow in here, but right now we want to provide it. You know what? Let me just refresh this. Sometimes it's just, yeah, reload. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, 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 go. Okay. Come on. There we go. All right. So yeah, so realize that it kept it there. We try to pass. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, so in here, what's your lucky number? We have the lucky number. So let's add another one, which is the ask the question. And then here would be what game do you want to play? Question mark. And what I can do is I can copy this and then go ahead and message variation. And I'll go ahead and copy the Copilot and say generate, I'll say probably 5 more message variation. I can't even spell message now. For asking what game to play. All right, update. Let's go. Generate it. So it's going to go ahead using Copilot in Copilot. Strange, I know, right? Your updates request didn't go through. Oh, interesting. Let's try again. Wow, what's happening? Let's see. Move your nodes into the camera. Yeah, it's in here. Ah, interesting. Okay, let's do this. Generate, you know what? Let's do it. Let me change this maybe. So generate 5 message variations asking the user what game to play. Let's try this again. Yeah, there you go. I don't know what's happening, but just freaking out for a moment. So here, what game would you like to play? Which game are you in the mood for? Do you have a specific game in mind? Tell me what game do you want to play. I'm here to help you find a perfect game. So that's fine, right? So we'll go with that. Let's close that Copilot for now. We've leveraged it. And then here, I want it to be a multi-choice option, right? Or you can just let it be user entity response and age is a city. It's just a string. You can pretty much let it be any ways, all right? However, like I said, 2 options. If you want to provide them the option to select, right? We can use the multiple choice option. And then here I can say we want math. And then add another one, and I can say trivia. And as you see, we're going to store this into the variable called var game option. All right. So there you go. So game option is set. So here, so don't forget that at this point now, we know the person's lucky number, which is stored in the var lucky number variable. We know the game they want to play, which is stored in the var game option. So now we can go ahead and say, okay, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I don't need it in here. I'm just going to do a response after that, right? So if they want to play math, it's almost the same thing. So here I can go ahead and call, let's add this and then we call that action. We have our numbers API agent. As you can see, so the lucky number will be var lucky number, the game option here will be the var game option choice right here. Hold on, what do we do there? This is supposed to be a number. So hold on, let's go ahead and change this and say let the response be, hold on just a sec, let's change this. Multiple choice option from a list, not a table. Let's do this. You know what? Let's do this. So the reason why it's shouting is because it's coming in is coming in as it's coming as a choice instead of a string. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's swipe this. I'm going to try to do this using a formula, and then I'll do. Let's do. Let's see. Let's do text. What do we want to put into text? And then just a sec. Let me make this big. And let's bring this here. Sorry, just a sec. What's this? Bar game option. So let's copy this. Okay. So I do this, and then this time around, I'm just going to change this. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's do this. And so again, because it's coming as a choice, I need to extract it and convert it as a string, because the Power Automate, as you can see from here, is expecting a string, right? Is expecting a string. So let's go ahead. Yeah, so let's try something. So let's go to Copilot and say, there's something going on with my intestine. Let's see. Let me close this. There's something. Okay, there you go. So here, let's go here. Let's open the Copilot and say, use an expression to convert the what is this? The game option choice into a string, right? Let's go ahead and say update. Let's see if Copilot can do this. Let's do this. Let's rephrase it. He says what? Okay, let's do this. Convert the game option choice into a string passed to the numbers API agent. Let's try this one. Let's update this. Okay, it's updated it. So so is it what it did? It did the opposite, right? But anyway, I'm going to correct it. All right. I didn't need it to do this. I wanted it to do it for the game option, which you can see is topic var game option, right? So that's what we wanted to do. So this is what I wanted to do. So let's go here. I'm going to do this. Go to formula. We'll do this, and then we'll do the add text. All right, and then we'll do topic, and you see the intelligence happening. So this is the game option, and then you close it, and then insert. And then this one is going to be we don't need. It's just going to be is it going to be the lucky number? All right. And then the error goes off. As you can see now, that error is gone off. How are we doing time? Yes, I think we are doing time. Awesome. So this is it. And like I said, you can decide to do this for all the, but it really doesn't make sense if you ask me that I'm going to call this 3 times. All right. So that's why I said in my case, I'm going ahead I'll delete this. And then I'm going to I'll delete this, and then it is the same, right? So we do this, and then we're going to go ahead and call the action, which is the numbers API. And then here would be the lucky number, and then here, which is what we're going to use the formula again to do, So I want to do the text. Open this is going to be topic dot game option, and then insert. All right, there we go. And then the same thing, now the result will come. So let's go ahead and save this. I think we can do this in 9 minutes. Awesome. So this is done. It's saved. Let's go ahead and test this. I'll just go ahead and say numbers. Keep our fingers crossed. Actually, let me move myself from here so you can see what's happening. This is hello there. Welcome to the Numbers Magic Portal. Pick any number and I will tell you a secret. So I'm going to do 25. Enter. And then it comes back and say, which game do you want to play? You want to play math or trivia, right? I'll start with trivia. And check this out. It's sending it. Whoops. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? So let's go ahead and check this out. So here it says, so we did a trivia, right? And we said the number was what? 25. So it says 25 is the size of a full roster on a Major League Baseball team for most of the season, except for regular season games. On or after September 1st, when teams may expand their roster to more than 40 players. So let's try the same thing here. And like I said, I'm not doing any multimodal or context switching here, so we'll have to call it a few times. If this sounds like something you want us to do to show how to do the multimodal, I have a previous video, but I can do a new one with a new Copilot Studio. So yeah, I'm going to do 25 again. And then this time around, I'll do math. And then we wait for it. It does a process, and check this out. So it goes ahead to say 25 is a square number being 5 to the power 2, 5 times 5, right? Awesome. And that's how, it works. So as you can see, we have leveraged a Copilot from here that is calling a Power Automate flow that we've created. We are just using this to express the fact that you can use it to integrate into external APIs, custom connectors, any other external system. So your Copilot can be even more smarter, be able to do things, call APIs, and do stuff like that. So this is all time will permit me for today's Christmas Eve episode of Power Series. I hope it's being informative for you, it's being educative for you. You've learned something and you've learned how to use it. We're going to do this again next week. Hopefully, we're going to do the last episode for the year, which usually is Ask Me Anything on Power Platform. So for all of my streams next week is going to be an Ask Me Anything, end of year, everything. So bring all your questions, bring all your concerns, bring all your ideas on all of my shows on Tuesday, on Friday, and then finally the last one on Sunday. So if this feels like something you want to continue to do with me, make sure to actually subscribe to the channel. It would go a long way to help us to grow the channel and give you awesome content. And also, if, like I said, if you're interested in, joining any of the WhatsApp groups, I'll be leaving a link to it at the end of the stream, so you can, just scan and join the stream. Well, this is where time will permit us for today. Like I always say, be safe, have fun, but be cautious out there. And let's continue to make the world a better place through technology. I still remain yours truly, Samuel Adrani, and I'll try to bring you this once there's good health and once we are alive. With that said, I am out. A Merry Christmas, a prosperous New Year. Let's connect in the new year and even do bigger and greater things. With that said, I am out.